Hello everybody, this is Kairos Flame, and tonight I am coming to you with a video about why I believe I ran from my twin flame. And last night I tried to make a video about this, and the energies were off. I don't know if anybody's feeling it, but when I did try to make a video and I did pray about it and I did my meditations and everything like that, and I went into my heart, and it didn't matter. Every time I attempted to make the video, my voice sounded angry, and it sounded like a man's voice. It was kind of going in and out of my voice, and then a man kept coming in. And I knew who that man was. And I know that he's going through some things, and I'm going through some things as well. So I'm kind of curious as to whether or not there's people who are being affected by these energies. So after I upload this video, I'm going to upload a video that is talking about the current energies and what is happening with all of us at this moment in time. But right now, I really want to speak about why I ran away from my beloved when we first met. And I ended up running on the very first day that we met. I'm not going to get too much into the backstory, but I'm really just going to try and keep it simple and basic for you all, because that's what really matters. That's where the main information is. Y'all don't need my entire life story to understand what I'm about to say. For me, eventually, when we were in Bubble Love and we were speaking, there were a lot of fears that started to bubble up to the surface. And I had a fear of him as well. And I don't know how true or not it is, if I was receiving visions of past lives with him or alternate lives with him where he didn't do nice things to me, but I was seeing visions of this. And this had been after the visions of seeing us merging and things like that. This had been after that. So I remember being in conversation with my beloved on that first night, and he opened up a little bit about his marriage. Actually, it wasn't a little bit, it was a lot, because for me, he didn't have to say many words about what was happening. I felt it. And I felt it in my heart, and it felt like prickly needles were stabbing me multiple times through my heart. And it was hot, and it was burning, and it hurt. It was extremely painful when he was talking about his marriage, and this brought up my own fears. And I think that it is absolutely necessary to separate, to be in separation, so that you can actually deal with your pain and your ancestral lines and your bloodlines, and to reach that inner equilibrium of heart and mind, that balance that we all need and we need to maintain. Because as far as it felt with me, when my beloved was talking about his marriage and I was feeling that pain, I almost doubled over. I almost fell out of the chair. That's how strong the pain was. And if we had run off together that night, which it almost seemed like it was about to happen, because he did ask me to come with him that evening and connect, not just with him, but with his family, the people of his soul family. I'm not talking blood family, I'm talking the soul family. And I didn't. But when I was feeling that pain, I knew that I had to leave. Because if I was feeling his pain from his marriage that much, then when my pain from my traumatic, abusive childhood came up, he would feel that 1,000 times more if I were in his physical presence. Okay? So essentially, the shadow, the fear that was coming up, brought to light to me consciously within the bubble love spirit, within that phase, within that moment in time. It brought up everything that I hadn't dealt with. It brought up everything from my childhood that I swept under the rug, and this included emotional abuse, psychological abuse, physical abuse, and just essentially not feeling good enough for anyone. So that is exactly what that brought up for me, and I knew that I had to leave to deal with these things. I knew that I wasn't psychologically ready. And the thing about it is that my beloved is in the public eye. He is very well known for what he does in the world, and his work is spiritual, okay? And I wouldn't want to be the one person to make him feel all of that pain in his physical presence. I knew I had to get away from him. I also felt the fear of love. Eventually, it really came down to this fear of love because I didn't know what love was. I feared it. I had a fear of the unknown. That was love. As a child, my family was not affectionate at all. We did not hug. We did not kiss. We did not say, I love you. You're wonderful. You're beautiful. All of the messages that I received from early childhood through young adulthood in my family, especially from my mother, okay, they were completely negative messages. It was, you're ugly, you're not worth anything, I wish I had a boy, I didn't want you, that's why I gave you a boy's name. And she would come home sometimes from work, and she would physically take all of her anger and her frustration out on me, the stresses from her job and things like that out on me. She would throw me down the stairs. She would bash my head into the walls. She would take the belt buckle and hit me on my back. She would slap me, and she would punch me in areas that couldn't be visibly seen. So my clothes hid all of my cuts. My clothes hid all of my bruises. And I kept a smile on my face during the day. So I hid all of my emotional pain, my emotional psyche damages. And I went to school and went about my life pretending like everything was okay. And that's how I dealt with it. I swept it under the rug. So when I met my beloved, I also met all of the crap that I didn't deal with, that I hadn't dealt with. And there's still things coming up, but now it's more collective stuff coming up now. It's more ancestral issues that are coming up now, because a lot of the things from my childhood have been dealt with. Okay, they really have been dealt with, and now it just seems more collective pain and ancestral pain. Another reason why I ran was because of the fact that I feared my own power. My masculine side as a child was de-emasculated. So my power, there was no power. I wasn't allowed to show my masculine side. So when my beloved came in, and he is the masculine in our union, I feared it just like I feared the love, because I didn't understand it. A lot of twin flames who were the first to be awakened, the ones who were awakened before their counterpart twins, came on and still come on and make videos about, oh, well, they're running from themselves. The runner is running from themselves. But to be honest, when I ran, I was running to find myself, okay? I was running to gather up all the fragments of my soul, all the pieces that were stolen from me, to gather them all back up and place them inside of me and integrate those pieces that had been lost, the lost pieces, okay? You cannot do that when you are so fragmented and you're sitting there with your beloved and you see your beloved and you recognize it, and then you go back into the world and you forget because you don't even know who you are. So how are you supposed to remember them? You end up hitting the snooze button and you go back to sleep. And that's exactly what happened to me. I also felt like I had a beloved who to me was more special than I thought I could ever be, because he's in the public eye, because he's already on this kind of spiritual path. I felt very intimidated by that, and I didn't understand why I had a beloved who is where he is and at the caliber he is at. I did not understand it at all. There are people out there who look at this man as some sort of human god, with what he does for a living. And for me, that was extremely intimidating, and I just didn't feel good enough for him at all. Okay? Because his own wife is similar in the sense where she's doing the spiritual work and so on and so forth, but there's a shadow side to all of that, and I'm not going to get into that because it's really not my place to talk about. But on the surface, that first day, that's what you see. That's what you see in the other. You see them in their perfection. You see the perfected self, and you feel it. But then he brought up his human side, which was that pain. And I felt it. And when I felt that, I knew that I had to leave because I didn't want him to feel all of the pain that I was holding inside of myself. In separation, I know he felt it, but I knew it was a lot less than if we had been in a physical union together. So a lot of times, these twins who leave, they are kind of sparing their other twin a lot of pain. And granted, that twin is still going to be going through a lot of pain. Can you imagine the pain that you had gone through and may still be going through? And imagine that being 1,000 times worse, because that's exactly what it would have been if you were in a physical union. It would have been 1,000 times more painful. it would have been a really tumultuous 3D relationship if you had gone into a physical union with your beloved right from the start and stayed that way without them leaving and dealing with their own stuff and giving you the space to deal with your stuff, you see. And that's what's going on. That's why we're in separation. Okay? But we are coming together, and I know that you all see this. I remember a couple of years ago, my beloved and I, we spoke on the phone, and we ended up having an argument, and he got really upset, and he said, "You keep searching for this love outside of yourself." And that was absolutely true, but he needed to understand the dynamics of why I was reacting and acting the ways that I was at that point in time. Everything happens in divine timing. To think that the runner is in control of the running part, so to speak, to think that the activated twin, the conscious twin, is controlling everything, it's not true. It's all in divine timing. Kairos. Again, Kairos is a meeting of time and destiny. And this is the path that we are on. This is the path that we are taking back towards each other and walking hand in hand, looking towards the source. That is our path. I ran mainly out of that fear of realizing, the fear of realizing that I did not know myself. I did not run from myself because I did not immediately recognize myself to begin with. And I wasn't even conscious of that fact. So I need you all to understand that your beloveds, everything, all of this that is happening in your life, everything that you're going through, the path that they are taking, the path that you are taking, it's all going to lead back to the one place eventually. And it's just a matter of the divine timing, that meeting between destiny and time. And that's really it. That is it. So when people come online and they say, "Oh, twins, there's going to be a whole bunch of twins coming together next month, and there's going to be a whole bunch of twins coming together in December," we're all on our own personal timeline. And sure, there are some groups that are moving as groups, and they're getting together physically in union with their beloved as groups. But a lot of us have individual timelines. A lot of us are just doing our thing, and focusing on our journey and our personal path. And that's what we really need to focus on. Not what everybody else is doing. Not, "Oh, such and such twin got together. Oh, what am I doing wrong?" No. You gotta stop judging yourself. And you have to stop judging your beloved. You absolutely have to stop. Because essentially, when you're judging yourself and you're judging beloved, you're judging the entity, the creator, who is in charge of time and destiny in the meeting of that. So you really have to just let go. Love your twin and understand that what they do is actually going to be for the benefit of the two of you. And it may not seem like that in the moment. It may not seem that way for years, for all I know. which is kind of what happened in our case. But you're going to get your reward. You have to believe that you will receive your beloved, and your beloved will receive you. And that is all that matters. That's it. So I'm going to love you all and leave you. And I'm going to make this next video about the energies that are coming up at this moment in time. I don't know what, I kind of have an idea of what's going on. I'm going to try and kind of feel it out and make a video about it. So I'm going to be back and I'm going to make a quick video about that. So I will see you soon. Bye-bye, everybody.